Okay, so I'm back at y'all with another, of course, coming back at y'all with the remake now to, the original Juwan the Curse. Only, the remake back in 2004 was called The Grudge, as probably most of us, grew up with. And what I just, I think it started. I also want to mention when I first started, I guess going back to the originals of the Japanese, you know, the Japanese horror craze that was going on down in the late '90s to the 2000s. Yeah, I just want to started doing a bit of research on that, and I'm kind of a bit shocked that the original director, that made the original director that made Joanne the Curse, the original, made this remake because it has every trope. It literally has every trope of a remake that you would, of course, see and expect from it. As all throughout the movie, it has like the Grudge is literally a, a cliche, stereotypical horror remake trash. It's the example of that. When it comes to these horror remakes and just like stereotypical horror trash in general, and that's I'm talking about the remake. Yeah, so basically, well, I also want to say first that, well, not really, but, oh yeah, as I was talking, so let's obviously before we get into it, let's talk about the origins, surrounded by behind the scenes, and the facts, and the cultivation of this particular you know phenomenon topic. So as I was telling y'all in the original Juan the Curse critique, when I was going over and discussing that, the J horror, that's what it was called, the J horror craze that started with, Hollywood coming to, Hollywood basically taking its, dirty, crusty handyman finger and dipping it into, Japanese Japanese horror cinema. In the 2000s, once the first, actually, I could have reviewed that, but I wanted to start with, you know, particularly it's Joanne the Curse, or as we all know, probably most of us, the Grudge. I wanted to start with that first because that's what I grew up on, and I pretty much liked. It was the only one much more that I liked of the much more popular Japanese horror at the time, going on in the late '90s to the 2000s. So yeah, that's why I wanted to touch on this first. So yeah, as that as soon as I guess like the Ring, as soon as like the Japanese horror was kicking off and it was getting very very popular in Japan. Of course, that's where all of them were, and basically around they were starting to getting around globally. And in the 2000s, you could basically say it was a remake galore because there was a fucking lot of remakes. It's more that comes out now, but I guess you can say that's where it started. The 2000s was basically a fucking the birth of more and more remakes, like as you saw with as you see with the Japanese horror remakes, and then you see with Halloween, uh, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. There's a lot of other remakes too, but of course, when it comes to horror, that's kind of the only thing that comes off my mind first, as opposed to action and drama or anything like that. But can't name it off the top of my head. But yeah, of course, of course, yeah, every horror was being remade. Yeah, we had Halloween. We had fucking three. We had Freddy. Michael and Jason make a comeback in the early 2010s. Well, the mid 2000s to the late 2000 to the early 2010s, because Halloween officially, the remake for that officially, the first remake came out in 2007, and then A Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 2010, and then Friday the 13th came out in 2009. But I'm not trying to get off the topic here. I'm explaining the J horror remake craze. So that started during the 2000s. As America was basically the cinema that's basically dead was dead at that point. They had no, Holly Unoriginal had no, clearly had no ideas at all, as they even more do now. It's kind of like just still TV shows, but as far as like just cinema in general, they'll still like a lot like being there. It's like really not that much there. I was like, yeah, they remake. They're remaking everything is coming back. They're remaking everything, literally everything. But yeah, the J horror craze, as I said, started in the 2000s. And what's that? If you probably most of us already know if you've seen it, or if you don't, I'll of course I'll get to that sooner when I get to it. But yeah, once the Ring in 2002 came out, the remake that first started, the Ring remake to the original Ring, which was called the Ringu in 1998. It started off a chain reaction, as they call it, a chain reaction of J horror remakes. And the ones I can name off the top of my head, because I only saw basically I saw well, pretty much all of them. The most popular ones, like One Missed Call, as I said, mentioned already, The Ring, The Grudge, and Pulse. The only ones that was really popular, really, cause was Pulse. I guess you can say of course, The Grudge and The Ring and Pulse. Well, I don't know if they're coming back with the Pulse, because that was like kind of like basically independent, the least popular of the three. But it still got it still got an American remake franchise out of it. They still got it out. But as far as like the Ring and of course the Grudge go, very became in America it made them a lot of money. So yeah. So after the Ring, a whole chain reaction of remakes just down the fucking drain. Just kept coming, a remake after remake. You would see, as Hollywood original kicked off first with the Ring, and then after that they came with the Grudge and Pulse and One Missed Call and Dark Water and so on. So let me before I actually still get into it, I wanted to read why he actually came to the original director, why he wanted to make a remake. And I was kind of shocked as why we would want to do that. I mean, I expected, like I said, because Hollywood originally trying to get anything they can to still make money, get their hands on. But that's kind of weird, considering how he wanted to remake his own movie. But we'll get into it. Yeah, basically, so they talk. Yeah, well, of course, the series becoming world. Yeah, like I said, a world. Very much popular. Like in the globe, basically everybody knows what the Grudge is. If they've seen it, very large admirers who admire it. And actually, Sam Raimi, he worked on this too and produced it. So I don't know. I don't really see much of his work during here. Well, I could see. Well, say the same. I could clearly see, but I don't really see the same here for his. I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't see like a little bit of him. But we get into it though. So it says right, it's Yeah, so they're saying that he co-produced it, and Ghost, yeah, hit like him and the original director pro produced it, and then yeah they brought they brought in the original director to help create, still direct and produce the movie, of course, because he was basically like the only one who had really any real knowledge, I guess, on it.